but I'm really excited to have our guest today, John Erickson. John is a trainer in my gym, Core Dynamics in Watermill, and he's also a nutrition expert, has written, what, 15 books?
Yep, 15 books.
And you have a great philosophy that I think is awesome in that, as you explained before, you don't cut out anything. So with carbs, protein, fats, like you have it all in a balanced
all three
way.
things.
So talk to me a little bit about how you got to that.
Well, every meal needs all three ingredients to keep you stable. This is all about keeping your blood sugar controlled on a moment-to-moment basis.
Okay.
For example, your blood sugar is from the time you're born to the time you die, it has to be even. Not too low, not too high.
Okay.
Too low, you're going to go into a coma in 10 seconds.
Okay.
Too high, your brain shorts out. It needs to be strict. You know what happens to a diabetic when they take too much insulin? Blood sugar goes low, they go into a coma.
Okay.
So this is about controlling your blood sugar on a moment-to-moment basis.
Would that be the glycemic index? Is that what people talk
Yes.
about when they do that?
It comes to the food, of how food raises your blood sugar, and that's about the glycemic index. So the first thing is to understand that the definition of a fad diet is one that restricts any of these three macronutrients, which is proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. If you restrict keto dieters, they have no carbohydrates, very few carbohydrates. So that would be the definition of a fad diet, no carbohydrates. Diets that hate fat are a fad diet because they're afraid of fat. Fat calories equals fat, which is not the way to go. That's how I made my mistake. I started eating this way when I was 24 years old. When I was working at Costco pushing wagons, I met a customer who taught me this new eating program, which is based on 40-30-30 nutrition. And I was part of the diet delivery services back in the year 2000. We used to deliver food to 2,500 people a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So we were traveling, doing dinners, breakfast, lunch, and dinner to everybody in the tri-state area. This was in the year 2000. Jennifer Aniston, Madonna was all on that program.
Right.
Now, that industry got corroded because nobody could own the name, the Zone delivery service. So the Zone split into all these different factions, and the true message was lost. So what I did was I put all of the concepts and the recipes into my own eating program, and I tweaked it better to add the glycemic index and to make it work well where people have, the goal of this program is to burn fat, feel full, and to enhance focus.
That's awesome. Okay.
That's why we do this. The alternative is suffering. So if you don't have carbohydrates, you're not going to have enough energy, you can't think. If you don't have enough fat, your brain is made of half of fat.
Right.
So you need to have all three ingredients. Protein raises your blood sugar. Carbohydrates lowers your blood sugar. By keeping those two things even, you're balanced.
Okay.
And your moods follow your blood sugar.
Right.
So if your blood sugar is low, you're going to be stressed and irritable. You're going to tailgate people. You're going to be impatient. You can't function at work. Right? That's what low blood sugar. So high blood sugar is bad too. So you need to be equal.
I call it hangry. Hangry.
Yes.
Usually. So we're going to be doing one of the recipes from, is it in your book?
Yes.
Okay, super. On stuffed peppers. And what I love about what you're bringing is that you are, and as we've done in the past, you're making it the way you know how to make it, which is a traditional way with the red meat and the cheeses and all that stuff, which is great, and certainly something everybody can do. But you're also going to give us some options if we want to adapt to a little bit more healthy or healthy conscious kind of a way. So why don't you walk through just the ingredients so far that we're going to be using today?
There are 5 ingredients that go into the pepper. So today we're making stuffed peppers.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, it's very easy. And this is all about the ratio. So you'll find a stuffed pepper recipe all over the internet, but I only tell you the right ratio so you can burn fat, feel full, and enhance focus.
Okay,
So that has to be all into place. So we have the pepper. First thing we're going to do is have the ground meat, and we're going to mix all of this together.
What kind of meat is this?
The ground meat. So this is lean, 90% ground meat is what we're going to start with. Beef.
Regular beef. Okay.
Yes. But you can also use ground turkey or ground chicken. And vegetarians can even use the stuff from Light Life called Gimme Lean.
Okay.
This is a vegetarian alternative for meat. It's the sausage flavor. It tastes good.
And
yeah, you just make it act just like the meat is here.
This is approximately, I'd say, about 1.5 to 2 cups of that.
Yes, but in each thing, each pepper, what we're going to do is we're only going to use a half a cup of that because we have to regulate the amount of protein you're having. So we want 3 ounces if you're going to have a steak, a tuna steak, or a burger patty. Everything should be 3 to 4 ounces for women and 4 to 5 ounces for men.
Okay, would that be the same if you're working out or not? You still keep it at the 3 to 4?
Still the same, of course. I go off of different people's body weights, but that's
And then this is Parmesan
That's the
cheese?
Parmesan cheese, yes.
So that's about a cup of that.
Yeah, no, the cup, oh, no, what we're going to put in is
No,
only a teaspoon of that.
Yeah, no. I would put a cup in. No, but the measurement in whole,
I
we're
love
just
Parmesan
showing,
cheese.
just as a whole, if you were going to do the recipe in
Yes.
whole. So it's about a cup altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have
The tomato sauce.
tomato sauce.
All right,
Yeah,
now,
talk to me about
most
that.
people get mad at me when Italian people get mad at me when I recommend jarred tomato sauce.
Yeah.
But
So
I'm
yeah,
impatient
so
and I have no time.
Okay.
I have
We
no
appreciate
patience to cook. So there are different types of tomato sauce on the shelf.
Okay.
The basic kind has about 16 grams of carbohydrates and a
Right.
basic added sugar.
Right.
This only has, I'm going to ask you, how many carbohydrates does this have?
I need my glasses.
I'm sorry, it has, so 6 grams of carbohydrates.
Okay.
What people do is they forget to take away the fiber. Did you know
Right,
that? You
and
have to
that-
always
yeah,
subtract the
yeah.
fiber from the total carbohydrates. So this has total carbohydrates 6, take away 2 grams of fiber,
Oh, that's all
4.
carb.
Perfect, there's only
Yeah.
4 carbs in half a cup.
That's great.
And the second thing you want to look for when you're choosing a tomato sauce, and all of these work, which are in my grocery guide,
Okay.
is you look for the first ingredient should be whole tomatoes and not puree, because it's off the glycemic index. You want the food to be more whole, and you want the carbohydrates in what we're eating to absorb slowly into your system,
Okay.
as opposed to rushing into your system. Carbohydrates raise your blood sugar and then crash you down to the ground, and you're hungry in an
And
hour.
these all have roughly
These
around
all
the same? That's
match.
good to know, because I always feel
my
like I'm
criteria.
cheating if I have, because I used Oreos myself, and I feel like I'm cheating. It tastes so good.
Yeah, and I
but
make
it's
people
good for
certain
time.
that this is good.
Okay.
Once you see it in my book, it's good.
Okay. All right, and then we have the mozzarella cheese.
Yes, and it's important to use the block grater for this.
Okay.
I usually, when you're making a nice recipe, don't buy the shredded because they put the stuff on there to make it not stick together.
Okay, yeah.
So I like to chop it off the block first whenever you're making a recipe itself.
Right.
And I work with private chefs all the time, and they tell me that it's just about keeping it simple and using high quality ingredients. So
Yeah.
they'll have a $100 bottle of olive oil and it makes the whole
Yeah.
meal taste great.
Yeah.
So
I appreciate
basically,
that. Okay, and then the rice. Now,
Yes.
There's a couple of different options with this also,
Mhm.
right? Why don't you tell me about that?
yes, rice. So basically, the Uncle Ben's converted rice, which is this, it has a lower glycemic index compared to regular white rice
Okay.
because the structure of the carbohydrates less branched. So it absorbs into your body more slowly. So white rice will be like this. This will be a nice, even
Oh, that's great to know.
blood sugar.
Okay.
Of course, you have to keep the portion size in check,
Right,
like I show you.
right. And the basmati rice, I know you have a
Basmati too,
well,
there's
it's the
3
same?
types of rice you can have. Yeah, basmati brown or converted.
Okay, and they both have the
3
same
times.
lower glycemic than
Yes.
regular white rice process.
Exactly.
And then my favorite, cauliflower rice.
Yes, cauliflower rice, you know, say I have different levels and I customize my eating programs to you, the individual.
Right.
So you can burn fat with 1/4 of a cup of rice is what this recipe has per
Serving.
serving, yeah, per person in 2 half peppers.
Okay.
If you want to accelerate your fat loss, you got to go to cauliflower rice.
All right.
But then you might not have enough carbohydrates in here, so I would have to give you berries for a dessert.
I like that idea.
You see?
You get two things. Okay, that's awesome.
So that's very important to have each ingredient the healthiest possible
Okay.
and customized to you, whether your personal level of commitment, whether you want maximum fat loss or the basic plan, or the type of meat you like,
Okay.
whether it be beef, chicken, turkey, or soy.
All right. The next thing that we're going to do is brown the meat, whatever the
Yes.
meat's choice is. In this case, we're going to be using the beef.
Mm-hmm.
But as you said earlier, we could use turkey, we could use chicken, whatever anybody likes, we can do. So why don't we take that on
Yes.
over here? I'll put this on. Now, what do you use for your fat in terms of the
Olive oil
sauteing?
cooking spray or olive oil. The 2 things to cook with are olive oil or coconut oil.
Right.
This is olive oil non-aerosol spray.
Oh,
So we'll put in here.
okay.
And then we're going to ground the meat, break it up in here. And I'm cooking extra meat than what we need. Do you know why? This is good in an omelet. Maybe tomorrow morning we want to make a beef and egg white omelet. You can use this different ways. And say you want to have just ground meat by itself and mix it with maybe another meal, maybe with just rice by itself. You can make this meal. You always want to cook leftovers so you have stuff on hand for
That's a great
later.
idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Because the prep usually, taking the time to make all these meals, it can be
Yeah.
a problem at times, and particularly if you're busy or running around.
Yep.
So that's a great idea to have extra on hand when you do that. So you just want to make sure that it gets nice and starts to get like a nice caramelized brown at the
Yes.
bottom.
Yes.
So
Make
we're
sure
gonna
it's
do
cooked.
that.
Yeah.
And it was lean, but it does have, you know, nice enough fat enough to
Yeah.
have that taste.
Yeah, you want to live life. You don't want to have it so lean that it doesn't taste good.
Right.
See, my eating program, since you're allowed to have all 3 ingredients, you don't have to be miserable. You can eat your food and burn fat and feel full and enhance your focus all at the same time. So you don't have to be... I grew up in the kitchen with my mother, who taught me how to eat.
Yeah, yeah.
And we spent a lot of time cooking together. And it's a skill that a lot of people don't know how easy it can be.
Mhm. It can be intimidating, I guess, if you don't have that kind of background when you're used to
True.
staying and someone
Yes.
explains it
I was
to
a
you
short
and
order cook when I was 16 years old at
stuff.
Sizzler Steakhouse.
You have a lot of experience.
Yeah, but I also had very low patience level. So cooking for me, to sit there and cut vegetables,
Makes you,
so for some people it's therapy, but
Yeah.
for me, it's maintaining patience.
it's funny, the most of the guests that I had on, we wind up talking about their childhood or stuff with either their parents or their grandparents or somebody that was important to them in their lives, and how they go
Yeah.
back to the kitchen. And
Mhm.
it brings all these memories back of they're recreating it.
So picture families, food brings families together.
Yeah, and people.
Yes. And it has to be good. And if you're going to sit there at your Thanksgiving dinner and follow a diet that doesn't allow you to have all 3 things, you're not going to have fun.
Yeah,
And you're not going to be satisfied.
that's very true.
It's good.
Okay, good.
Right, all set?
Good.
Yes.
Nice and brown, so that's a
Perfect.
good conversation down there.
Yes.
All right, so the first step that we should do is to prepare the pepper.
The pepper,
right?
yes.
Okay,
Mhm.
so why don't you walk us
And
through what you
I like
do?
to make sure this is going to lay flat, so it's kind of like find a flat spot. So
Okay.
after I cut this, and what you do is you take the stem out first. And one of the things is that I hate cutting peppers. Did you know that about me?
Yeah, I don't like that. I did not know that about you, but I also don't love it because of the seeds.
Because of these seeds, exactly.
Yeah, and they're hard to cut.
So once I find it's going to sit nicely this way or that way,
Right.
I just cut right down the middle, and I cut it right in half.
And I see you're using a red pepper, and you have this beautiful orange, yellow, red, and I know people do things with green. Does it matter in terms of, or is it just a taste preference?
No,
What
some
you
people
use?
get agita after having green peppers.
Oh, okay.
So as long as we blanch them first, the
For
second
those who don't know,
step.
agita means heartburn. Just, I know what it means. Everybody knows it. Okay. Go ahead.
And then we're going to blanch these to soften them up.
Oh, all right.
You know, sometimes people have raw peppers, they don't absorb well, and
Yeah.
you want to kind of soften them up.
You
So
did that pretty
basically,
easily. Okay, that was a good way to do
yeah,
it.
that's not bad.
Awesome.
I made this recipe like 100 times last night. Perfect. Now we're going to blanch these in boiling water
Okay.
in a big pot,
I think we can handle that.
and you have to make sure these are submerged. Ideally, you want to be using these tongs, especially when we take them out.
Okay. And there's no salt in here. Like it's not like pasta water. You have to salt it. You just do it like that.
Yes,
All right.
just
So
plain
we'll just
water.
time 3 minutes. So we let this blanch for, like you said, 3 minutes.
Yep.
So we're gonna take these out. Nice bright,
Perfect.
red. Okay.
Very
We're gonna
nice.
set those aside for now. And then, what would be the next step? What would be?
Oh, the next step is to have a bowl. Okay, I need a bowl right here. Perfect. What we're going to do now is combine the ingredients that are going to go in the pepper.
Okay.
And the first one is the ground meat.
Okay.
And it should be, we're having the protein in this meal is half of the meat and a little bit of the cheese. So what we're going to do is instead of having 3 ounces of meat, we're going to have 2 ounces of meat and 1 ounce of cheese.
Oh, okay.
See how we're going to
Yeah,
make that work?
all right, okay.
So a half of a cup, which is, you're the expert, right?
Yeah.
This is about a half a cup. Because instead of, you can either weigh this out as 2 ounces, or I'll just tell you that 2 ounces of meat equals a half a cup.
Okay.
It's easier to measure that way.
So a cup is 4 ounces. That's easy.
Yes,
Oh,
it's easy.
great, okay.
And the rice is next. And the rice is critical to get 1/4 of a cup because carbohydrates are the main thing that we're trying to control here, your carbohydrate intake. So I'm going to put 1/4 of a cup of rice here. Perfect.
All right.
And next is the tomato sauce, which should be 1/3 of a cup, which is very easy to eye. You do not need to use measuring cups. You can just eye it.
Okay.
Or if you need to use them just in the beginning,
I would say like 3 of those would be my
perfect.
estimation.
Yeah, you just throw it in here. The simple ingredients,
It's making me hungry. What else?
mozzarella cheese.
Okay.
Thank you. 1/4 of a cup. Whoop. Perfect.
So even more of that than the rice.
No,
Right?
it's less. Yeah,
Less.
no,
What do we
a
do?
little less.
A little less.
Yeah, a little less.
Oh,
It's
that's
going to
right,
be
potatoes.
2 ounces of meat, 1 ounce of cheese, which is 1/4 of a cup, and this is going to be 1 teaspoon of Parmesan cheese, which is
Okay.
our favorite.
Yeah, and put that on everything, honestly.
I know, I can eat it forever. It goes on everything.
Yeah, and it adds a little saltiness too, because I put salt in everything. Where are you on salt? How do you feel about
Oh, salt is not a big deal. Salt and cholesterol is not a big deal as long as you're following my plan, because carbohydrates increase your cholesterol and your salt. People blame the chips. People blame the salt when they eat potato chips and gain weight the next day. It's because of the carbohydrates, not the salt.
Okay.
Carbohydrates rush into your muscles, and for every 1 unit of carbohydrate you store water with it.
Okay.
So you float
Oh,
with
so it's
water.
not the salt
So
that's making
salt
it-
is only a problem for people who have a high carbohydrate diet. When you lower your carbohydrate intake or your glycemic load, your body naturally gets rid of your salt
Okay.
or doesn't produce as much cholesterol. So we don't care about salt. You can actually add more. Plus, when you're using whole foods, you don't have to add much salt.
Thank goodness, because
Yes.
I love my salt.
So
Okay.
once you have this, all you have to do is mix this around, and this is what's going to go into
It sounds
the.
like a little when you do it by itself, but together it's a nice, I mean, it's a healthy
Yeah.
serving, so it looks
It's simple,
like it would be filling.
healthy, and this will all fit right into the peppers
Okay.
nicely.
So would one serving be considered a half a pepper, or would it be the whole pepper?
One serving for one person is 1 pepper cut in half, and this whole mixture.
Okay,
One person,
all right,
which is a nice amount,
yeah.
and it's
And
balanced.
that would be your meal?
This is your balanced meal by itself, and it will be enough, but you can also add a tossed salad on the
So
side
yeah,
if you need
something
bulk.
like that, okay.
Perfect, and I show you what dressings to use, whether you make your dressing at home or I have dressings that I recommend.
All right,
So this is a perfect meal by itself. All enclosed. Protein is what? The beef
the beef,
and the
obviously.
cheese.
Yeah.
The
Right,
carb.
3 in 1. The carb is the rice,
Yes. Fat.
mozzarella cheese, and a little bit of the
Parmesan cheese.
Parmesan.
Perfect. 3 things. 1, 2, 3. Done. Balanced meal. You are controlled.
That's awesome, perfect.
So this works meal by meal. You eat now. What you eat now determines how you feel for the next 3 to 4 hours, up to 5 hours.
And you should try and regulate it, right, so you're eating like every 3 or 4 hours?
Yes.
Is that true?
The consistency is key. Eating, don't go more than 5 hours without eating. The consistency is key. For example, Christine wakes up at what time?
5.
And then you have to have a balanced breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have for breakfast? Do you want to tell our audience what you have for breakfast?
Sweet potato,
Okay.
and half sweet potato.
Uh-huh.
Egg,
Carbohydrate.
plus 2 whites,
And sweet potatoes are low glycemic carbohydrates, so that's excellent. And okay,
an egg plus 2 whites, and 2 teaspoons of sunflower seed butter. And I had a little half
That's
a cucumber
perfect.
today.
so you're on my plan and didn't even know it.
Yeah, kind of like eat butter.
So that's a balanced meal. You should feel stable after that meal.
I do, I feel
And
fine.
you probably figured that out on your own based on your own cognition and what feels right for you. Sweet potatoes are low glycemic, which sustain you for a
Yeah,
long period of time.
You feel satisfied after you're done with it. And
So that's great job with that breakfast. Now what you want to do is for lunch, same balance. Different food, same balance.
it's a little bit of a challenge when you start. I mean, breakfast I always find easier to plan out. It's a little bit more of a challenge when you're doing lunch and a snack and dinner.
Yeah.
So things like this are great.
Simple.
And I know you're going to show us how to make a snack, which would
Yeah.
be really helpful because
Yeah.
trying to balance the 3 to 1, even the way you broke up the protein, you did the meat plus the cheese. Like you had to do
Exactly.
it. So that would be
Snacks
helpful.
also need balanced proteins, carbs, and fats, but it's smaller. So a perfect snack, which we can go over later, would be string cheese and fruit. String cheese has the protein and the fat, and the
Okay.
fruit has the carb.
Okay.
Done. That's
All right.
simple.
Super. Okay. All right. So then the next step here would be we would stuff our pepper. All right.
Yes.
Because we're at the point now where we can use our blanched pepper and start
Yes.
really prepping the stuffing.
We're ready to
So
put
when you
this
walk
thing in
us
the
through
oven.
this, let's do it.
Yes.
Okay, hungry.
Yes.
So you don't have to do the bottom with any spray or anything. You can if you want.
No,
not
yeah, you can if
necessary.
you want to. Yeah, not necessary. So what we're going to do is put this mixture that we created inside each pepper. Ooh. See how these are both staying nicely straight up?
Yeah.
Like that's why we chose the nice peppers. Whoop.
I have a definitely
there. Perfect. That's the perfect amount that goes in 2 medium-sized peppers.
Okay.
So there we go, perfect. And now, we're not done yet. Thank you. What we're gonna do, we have to top this, make it look like a pizza. So make believe we're eating pizza. Sauce on top, a little layer of sauce. And it's low carb anyway, so it's fine. Next, a little bit of mozzarella cheese first. A little bit just to make it brown. Yeah, this is going to make the whole meal. This has to be in this sequence. Tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese, and then a Parmesan cheese on top.
Okay.
Perfect, right?
Yep. Pepper pizzas.
One here, have to be even, the cheese. And a little bit of Parmesan cheese.
And when you're being
It's
so
ready to
good
go.
about everything else, if you do a little extra, it doesn't really matter. Like,
Yes.
yeah, as long as you're not doing it all day long. If you're sticking to your
Yes,
basic
that's why we're a
principles.
stickler with the portions
Right.
in the beginning, so we can be a little outside the boundaries and still get by.
Right, okay. All right,
Perfect,
so
this
then
is ready to go in the oven.
350-degree oven?
350
for how
degree
long?
oven for about 45 minutes.
Okay.
Now what we're going to do at the end, watch it, and at the very end, we're going to put the broiler on just to
Just to brown the top.
brown the top.
Okay, super.
So there you go. Perfect.
So how long did we keep them in the oven, just so everybody knows?
45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Mhm.
All right, and this is what they look
And at the
like
end, we hit the
after-
broiler to make it brown on top.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now we get to try this in the paper bread.
Yes.
Okay, so take one. Do
Yes.
you want to cut it or
Yes, got it.
much as I'd like to dive in?
If I was home, I would eat the whole thing with my hand, but since we have to be polite right now, we're in public. There we go. Nice, perfect bite-sized pieces.
Maybe a little bit small.
Yes.
Get rid of everything in there.
Cheers.
Mmm.
Wow.
So good.
That
There's so
was
much
great.
flavor.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm surprised because you didn't add any garlic. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't add salt, which I'm usually, I
Right.
use a lot of salt. And it has a fantastic amount of flavor.
Yes, simple, high-quality
Doesn't
ingredients.
need anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Perfect.
John, thank you. This has been tremendous. And I know, take a one more little pinch.
Oh, yeah,
we
so
have
what about
the-
these?
Yeah, we have the smaller peppers here that you do.
You've seen these in the store,
Okay.
right? The baby sweet peppers. And what you do is you make them the same way, except the insides is already balanced. So if, say you're having a party and you wanted to make appetizers for
Right,
people,
yeah.
bite-sized appetizers, perfect. These go right into your mouth.
And if I was gonna make a meal, like I could have 4 of those?
Yeah, exactly. You would just eye it. What you think would equal 4 would equal one of those.
These are so, they're
Perfect.
probably 5, but they're really, really good. Okay, so great, thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing all
thank
this
you.
knowledge with us. And I know, actually, we're gonna do a little snack. Can you
Yes.
show us?
A late-night dessert snack, which is very important. And like I said, consistency is matters. So you need to have balanced meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and balanced snacks
I love the sound.
that are cold,
Perfect.
creamy, and sweet.
All right, so just as a little added thing, we talked about
Yeah.
snack or
Mhm.
dessert, whatever you want to call it. But why don't you show us what you would suggest in just terms of keeping with this balanced, the idea of a balanced.
Yeah, so a perfect dessert type snack is ricotta, cheese, and pear. So what we're going to do is cut the pear into slices, long way slices.
Now, is a pear a low glycemic fruit?
Yes.
Okay.
In my books, I show you 2 lists. One is for accelerated fat loss. Pears would be on that list, along with apples, berries,
Okay.
clementines. Everything that absorbs slowly, all the fruits that absorb slowly into your body would be on this list if you want accelerated fat loss. For the basic fat loss plan, what fruits do you think would be on the right-hand side?
I'm thinking like bananas.
Perfect, yes. Bananas,
Even maybe
mango,
pineapples,
yep,
I love
pineapple,
them.
grapes,
yeah.
everything that absorbs
Sugar.
quickly into your body. Grapes are actually on the borderline, but I do all the math for people. And I show you exactly what fruits are good or bad. And there's nothing better than the education of
Yeah.
knowing, because once you know pears are good once, you know they're good forever.
Yeah, you have that go-to food you can just grab.
Mhm. So basically what I'm doing here is I have a nice ripe pear that's ready to go. And what we're going to do is just lay it on a plate and take the ricotta cheese.
Would you use the whole pear, like if you were just at home?
I'm going to use the whole pear. Yeah, I just don't want to mess up the plate for
Okay, yeah,
us.
no. Yeah.
Perfect right here. And fat-free ricotta cheese. I got this at Citarella, local, in Bridgehampton. And we're going to put, remember, eye it, 1/3 of a cup for this meal. I'm just going to put a little bit of ricotta cheese on each of the pear slices. So what we have here is the carbohydrate is the pear. The protein is the ricotta cheese, the fat-free ricotta cheese. And what's the fat source? Perfect, we have pistachios right here. So we're just going to put pistachios on top. And my book tells you how many to use, which should be exactly 10.
10?
Yes.
And would you?
It's all
be
mathematics.
substituting the fat that would normally be in the ricotta for the pistachios because it's a plant-based fat as opposed to an animal fat? Is that?
The
or
reason
some
is because you'd rather get your fat from a monounsaturated fat like a nut rather than a dairy fat like ricotta cheese.
Okay.
So this is monounsaturated fat, but it's healthy. And one of the most important things is the types of fat that you're eating. The nuts are good, monounsaturated. They're perfect. You need to avoid omega-6 fats, which is from soybean oils and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you need to take fish oil. So it's omega-6 is bad, omega-3 is good, which is from the fish oil. So that's how you know you can eat bad fats in your life as long as you're eating fish oil to counteract it.
Oh, you can eat them
It's
at
a
the
good or
same
bad
time?
thing.
Kind of
Well, you have to take fish oil in the morning. It stays in your body all day.
What
So
does it do for you?
fish oil helps you burn fat more efficiently, and the proof is that it lowers your triglycerides. They give fish oil as a pharmaceutical drug these days that says they lower your triglycerides. Triglycerides are the amount of fat floating in your bloodstream. It means you're burning more fat. So fish oil helps you burn fat more efficiently. Fish oil increases your serotonin and dopamine, makes you focus. Now what's better than having focus on a diet when you have to be structured? It's important to keep your emotions cool, and that's fish oil does that. Fish oil is good for inflammation. Everything's about inflammation. If you watch the pharmaceutical drug commercials, they even come out with if you have dry eyes,
Yeah.
that's from inflammation of your tear ducts.
Okay.
If you have asthma, that's from inflammation of your lungs. If you have heart disease, that's inflammation of your heart vessels. Inflammation, arthritis, inflammation. So anything with an itis,
Low
fish oil.
inflammatory properties.
fish oil puts a brake on the inflammatory.
All right, and so then the
This
pistachios
is,
would
we're
be along
done.
the same line.
Proteins, carbs, and fats.
How simple
Imagine
is
eating
that?
this in late night when we're lonely
Okay,
and
do I have to
stressed.
imagine it? Can I just try?
Perfect.
Small ones.
This is perfect flavor together.
So that,
Mm.
it feels so sad, that feels like it would, I feel like I'm cheating if I were on a diet.
Right. Cold, crunchy, sweet, smooth, creamy.
Yeah, you get that.
This will make you
Mouthfeel.
sleep really nicely tonight.
Oh, that's awesome, that's great. Okay,
Mhm.
super, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Love
Late
having
nights.
you here. A
Thank
lot
you.
of great lessons,
Mm-hmm.
even to the prep, like when you're gonna make something, make a little more so you can grab it, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Because prep is half the battle a lot of times when you're busy, trying to make healthy meals or healthy meal options for your kids, you know?
Yep.
I would think kids would like this too, I mean, this is like.
Oh, it's perfect for kids, yeah, and it will empower them to eat healthy.
Right.
You know, kids, I feel bad for women who, for example, will make her husband and kids ground turkey instead of ground beef, and they complain. You know, she's trying to do better for them,
Right.
but if you can learn how to spice it up a little better, and know that you actually can have lean beef if you have 90%,
Right.
and
You can make it tasty.
so as long as you
Just don't
balance
say
your
anything.
meals.
Don't say
Yeah,
anything.
I know, you
They
can't
won't
tell
tell you
them.
anything. Just don't be nice about it. I know, I suffer from that. I did the same thing with my daughter. But, so thank you. This has been great. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
And I look forward
thank
to
you.
seeing you chat.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, oh my goodness, it's all fantastic. Okay.